So the Chancellor sat down probably about 5 minutes ago, so this is kind of the hottest of hot takes on the autumn statement. It's worth remembering that this wasn't a budget, it was an autumn statement, and therefore, the Chancellor did actually stick to the script and spend a lot of time talking about spending and reporting back against how the economy has been performing since the last budget. That having been said, he did find a new word in his vocabulary, and that was growth, which was something he really hasn't mentioned for the last year. And he did spend some time explaining to us his excuses for not having really focused on it, mainly being around trying to get inflation down, not necessarily under control, but down. He outlined 110 growth measures, or rather alluded to them. They'll be in the documentation that we're going to have to look through in due course. But he set out his political vision, which was a lower tax economy, a more productive state, and a state that was really focused on supporting enterprise. He outlined measures to boost business investment by up to 20 billion, admittedly over the next decade, not all instantly, so some of these things will take some time to come through. And on the tax front, he pulled his sort of traditional rabbits out of the hat. The R&D tax credit, it looks like it's likely to be merged and simplified. He tried to make out that was making it more generous and more effective. It'll be interesting to see how those numbers work out. The government, or maybe Rishi Sunak, has a particularly strange obsession, in my view, with things like free trade zones and investment zones. And there were some more announcements around that, and indeed trying to make sure that they'll have greater longevity going on for more than 10 years. And then he kind of turned to probably the bones of the tax measures, which are really about trying to appeal to the aspiring classes, the investors, the people who are really trying to grow their businesses. And he talked about extending full expensing for all businesses, not just large ones. And I'm sure that'll be a really welcome addition. He then went on to talk about reforms to national insurance, which aren't particularly great amounts, but they were aimed at both the self-employed and employees, and along with measures around business rates that again were aimed at the small businesses, those aspiring entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their business. Is it going to be enough? Well, that's a political question that I can't really comment on. But clearly what he was trying to do was set out his vision for the future. And as a post-war French politician once said, to govern is to choose. And what he was really trying to do was set out his choices against which he's going to fight the next election.